Hi, welcome. Hi, welcome. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Untold Story. I'm gonna let Instagram let you guys know that we are live. Let me know where you are joining in from. Um, Let us try to. Hi. Um, Let me try and see if I can put in some. Wow, hi, welcome to Untold Stories. If you're new here, this is a series where we hear amazing stories from women who are navigating life change, and we are here to learn literally the untold stories of amazing women who are transforming their lives, making changes, but they're able to own their own voice, become confident, um, really change the space where they are so that their voice is making an impact. And what we are doing here is to learn from the experiences and tips and nuggets from these women who often go through amazing transformation, amazing changes, but never get to, we never hear the stories. So this platform, the reason why we are here is to hear the amazing stories. Because sometimes when you go through transition, you tend to feel like you're alone. There is that self-doubt, there is limitations that come. Can I do this? Can I navigate this? You feel like, am I the only one going through this? But the point is, we're never the only people going through whatever we're going through in life. This is the reason why I started this series, so that we can all learn together and know that no matter where you are, no matter where your journey takes you to or where your journey takes you from, you're not alone, and there are other people who are navigating exactly the same thing that you're navigating. But it is important that you keep owning your own voice, building your confidence, taking care of yourself, because that's important. And that brings me to our guest today. We're going to be learning all about her journey to healing through self-care and soul care, because looking after yourself is also looking after, you have to look after your soul as well, so that you can make an impact and the change that you need to make in the environment and space that you are. So without further ado, let me invite, oh, she has done. So let me let you in. Oh my god, today I'm so excited about today's guest, because I need self care. I need soul care. So this is just amazing. July.
Hello, hello.
Ah,
How are you? Let me adjust this a little bit. All right, there we go.
oh my god. Hi, how are you? I'm good, thank you. How are
I'm
you?
blessed. I am blessed. I'm doing well. I can't complain. Although we could, right? But what's the point?
Amazing. We never complain. We're blessed. Shouldn't complain. Always grateful, always grateful. Welcome and thank you for spending your afternoon, my evening, with us, to tell us your amazing journey. Because, like I said, it's important that we share our journeys as we navigate this life change. Because sometimes life be life. But as long as we've got God, we've got Jesus. For those of you, like, we're all, I'm a Jesus baby. If whatever you hold on to, you hold that
Yeah.
tight, because when life be life, you got to hold on to something to feed your soul and to feed your spirit. So yes, I'm excited to hear your amazing story. So this is how we start. We start here by saying, tell us about yourself. Let us know, who is Valerie.
Yes, yes. Well, first, thank you for having me to just be able to share all of the things that God has done in my life, and just even to you, right, for extending the opportunity for women to just come and connect, because something you said was so important, which is you're not alone. But how often do we feel like we're alone in the thing that we're going through? And so thank you is where I want to start, but that does lead me into who am I? I am Valerie Arroyo. So I am from the United States. I see that we have a lot of people from all over. I am a mom. First and foremost, I am a daughter of the Most High. And I start with that because it took me a long time to get to a place where I was able to shed and remove the titles that I had, to introduce myself from a place of position, right? I am a mom. I am a principal, which was my former position. And realizing that those things did not, while they were a part of my story, they didn't tell the full picture of who I was and who I was created to be. And so I am a personal development coach. I have a passion for coaching and working with women. I do believe that it is my calling that God has gifted me with, to be able to help other women be able to understand their identity, not as the world, gives us, but who He created you to be. And to be able to teach women how to step boldly and confidently into their calling, into their purpose. And so that is a part of the work that I do. And when I'm not doing that, I am a mom of two lovely boys. And so, yeah, that's just a little bit of who I am.
Okay. I mean, I love the fact that you straight up talked about like women gaining their confidence and knowing who they are and knowing that their voice matters. And this is what I'm always like here for on my business. Is all about women gaining their confidence, regaining their confidence after whatever change they've had in life. And it's important that as women, because a lot of, especially minority women, we are like always boxed into a corner, and sometimes, like I say, we feel alone, and that really tramples on our confidence. We don't want to speak out in who we are or what we do or what we bring to the table, because we're not confident, or we feel like we're not going to be heard. So it's amazing that you talked about that, and I'm so happy that your platform actually allows women to learn how to build that confidence. So tell us about, what is your transition story, and how did you begin? How did that, come into place, and how did you birth, I mean, the amazing platform that you have for women?
Yes. Ooh, that's a loaded question. Where do I begin? I guess when I think about how I got to this place, I remember in 2017 being at a point, I like to call it a crossroad between like the best and worst moments of my life, because in my career, I had been advancing so much, and there were so many great things that were happening for me career-wise. At the time, I ended up losing one of my younger cousins who was really close to me to a heart condition. And at that moment, right, that was the crossroad that made me question, what am I living for? But not in the sense of I don't have a purpose. I didn't know what it was. And even though I had the titles, even though I had the accolades, even though I had the degrees, it was at a place where when I looked at myself in the mirror, I couldn't confidently say who I was. And that began my journey of recognizing that over time, I had taken on the identity of so many other things, the world, my family, and who they wanted me to be, right? And that had formed who Valerie was. But when I really dug deep to say, am I living out my purpose? Is that who I want to be? Do I even like it here? I couldn't confidently say yes. And so that started my journey of healing first and foremost, because there was a lot of things that I was carrying with me that I had picked up as I started to take on these different identities, right? These different things that I was told I should be, I should live up to, and to shed that weight and to really take a glimpse and sit with God to say, God, who did you create me to be? And so that started my journey, what I call my journey to wholeness. And it was an accountability journey for me to say, like, I know I'm not the only one in this. And even my encounters with women, while I was sharing my personal journey, they were like, yeah, I was going through that too. I thought I was just alone. So there was a lot of this, like, I thought I was just alone. And I'm like, girl, no, you're not alone, right? And that's what started the Women's Healing Circle, which started off as a Zoom community that anybody can come into, and it's a safe space where we can talk and shed the weights that we were carrying in a way that we wouldn't be judged. And because superhero or superwoman syndrome is a real thing, right? But in a way that we can take that weight off for a second, take the cape off, and put on our own oxygen mask, and do it in community with others who understand and who will champion you. So that's where it started, or how I got started on this journey.
Oh my God, girl! How can I say that you were speaking to me? You were speaking all the things that I'm like, oh my God, where was she when I was transitioning? I remember like just wanting to leave my big corporate job, and just I was carrying that weight myself. And I like the fact that you say that you have to take some time to pause and heal for yourself. Yeah. Because like I always say that you can't feed someone from a cup that's empty. So I remember starting myself to ask that question, who am I? Because I was tired of being mum. I was tired of being the corporate girl. I was tired of being everything to everybody else. Yeah. And I needed to figure out, who is Ella? And the moment I started, like, starting to ask her, like journaling, like, who am I and why am I here? And then it took a while. But then, like you say, in that space of moving, I had the alone moments, like, is there anyone else that is feeling like me? And a lot of times, a lot of women, as we navigate life, as we navigate whatever change, and trying to figure out where our calling is, what our strength is, I know that a lot of times we carry all of this weight because, like you say, we want to be superwoman, but we are not superwomen. It's like, how do I get to the place where I'm like, I want to know who Ella is, so that I can be Ella to everybody. I don't want to be mum. I just don't want to be ex corporate person, or that, whatever person I am to the next person or my family. It's really about who are you and how can you heal from that weight that you're carrying. And you said that it's just all about how can I be capable in knowing who I am. And it's so funny because one of my programs is called A Capable Woman, and I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? Like, this is like, Jesus, is that you talking?
Sure is.
So I want you to tell us, what are the lessons that you learned as you started to find out who Valerie is, and who how you want it to be healed for yourself first. What were the things that you learned along this journey? If I ask you, what 3 things did you keep first and foremost in mind so that you can serve the community, and what are your top 3?
Ooh, top 3. There's so many lessons. I want to say that the first lesson that I always walk with and hold with is to give myself permission to not have all the answers. Giving myself permission to figure it out. And in that figuring it out piece comes that soul care, right? That piece where it's okay to go to God and say, God, I don't have this, but I know I'm a part of your perfect plan. So can you give me the wisdom? Can you give me the guidance, right? As women of color, it's hard for us to ask for help. And one thing that I've learned around that is that I was entering into my prayer life that way, afraid to go to God and say, God, I don't know. God, I need help. I need you. And so a part of my journey was giving myself permission to not need to have all the answers, to say, I don't know, right? I'm figuring it out along the way. So like that would be one thing. And I think that's the main thing that I keep going to Because when I feel a weight, it's usually from this place because I feel like I have to have all the answers here and now.
Mm-hmm.
The other learning, I guess, thing that I carry is the power of community. Because this place of being and feeling like you're alone in it, community is so important. God has created each and every one of us with a unique gift to be able to use collectively. Not one of us has every single thing that we need. And so being able to be a part of a community that not only gets it, because like-mindedness, right? We're all going through similar things,
Mm-hmm.
we relate to each other, but also to be a part of a community, because when I'm down and I feel like I'm in like this pit, because we get there, that I have a
That's right.
sisterhood, I have a community that I can reach out to unapologetically and say, yeah, I'm not okay today, right? Like, I'm not okay. And that community will extend their hand back out. As I reach out for help to them, they reach their hand back out to me and say, sis, I got you. And they cover me in prayer. And they cover me and say, what do you need? Right? With no strings attached. Because that's something that I had to learn. That the community, you don't have to worry about that. There'll be a natural exchange. Because when you feed me, I can feed you.
That's right.
Right? And so like that community piece is so, so important. And the third, I think those are like my top two. If I'm honest, like those are my top two. I'm not sure if I have a third that feels, it can contend with
That
those two.
feels like this is the bedrock. And I thank you for saying that, for saying give yourself permission, because that is my motto. Every morning I wake up and I say, I give myself permission to just keep going. I give myself permission to fail. I give myself permission to be. I just give myself permission to start this journey. And a lot of times when I talk to women who are navigating change or wanting to start up a business, I say the one thing that you can do for yourself in this journey is to give yourself whole permission. And some people are like, but why do I need to do that? And I was like, it's important for you to look at yourself and really say to yourself, girl, I give you permission to go on this journey. Because that is a constant reminder that it doesn't matter what you face, how you feel, where you are, the ups and the bumps that you go through, you are willing to stay in this for you.
Yes.
Notice that I didn't say I'm giving myself permission to be that to that person, to be this. It's giving myself permission to go on this journey, so that whatever bumps I find on the way, I stand up and say, I gave Ella permission, so I am going to keep going because this is for me.
Yes.
And I think that is so important that you talked about that, and that we all remember that as you go through whatever change, whatever journey you are going to, whether you're building a business, whether you're just go feeling like the next level is right there and you can see it but you just don't know, the most important thing, give yourself permission. And once you've done that, find people who can lift you up, because you're right, sometimes we don't have it all figured out. But then if you're in a safe space where you say, I'm not okay today, there is no judgment. It's just, and that is what is really lacking, especially in Black communities, especially like minority community, feeling like you're in that safe space where no one is like, there's no competition, there is just no judgment, it's just women just literally just lifting each other up. And that brings me to our next question, which is, how do you take care of your soul as you transition? How do you take care of yourself when you're going through change, whether it's a little change or a big change in your life? How do you take care of your soul?
Yes, I love that question. If I can have your permission to just go back really quickly to the last question, then I'm gonna get right to this. There's something you said around the permission slip piece, right? I call permission slip. Brene Brown has a book. That's where I got it from. I got the concept of giving ourselves permission, because giving ourselves permission does two things. One, it activates our faith, right? Because giving ourselves permission allows God to be him, to do what he can do, right? But it also deactivates our fear, because a lot of times when you don't get to this place of speaking to your fears, giving yourself permission, right? Whether it's permission to sleep through your alarm for a couple of minutes, right? Like permission to not get it right. It just gives you and puts you in a place of remembrance of who's in control, right? And so that permission is that opportunity to be able to say, God, you have me. God, it's your plan. And activating that faith, because faith and fear cannot coexist.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And so your permission, right? The permission to yourself is activating your faith, so that way fear doesn't have a place. And so oftentimes fear holds us back from doing this. But if you just practice that in those moments where you are afraid, you're uncertain, you're feeling overwhelmed, to give yourself permission, even if it's just permission to breathe.
Cheers.
Right?
That is powerful.
And so those are things to go into your question, right? Like that is one like tangible thing that I constantly remind myself to do in terms of caring for my soul. Because what the world wants you to think, and what I thought for a long time, was the self-care piece, going to the spa, getting my hair done, getting my nails done, right? Like, how do I care for myself on the outside? I thought that was the thing. But then when I realized, well, actually, 2 days later, 2 hours later, I'm still feeling back to who I was. I might look good on the outside, right? But soul care helps you heal good on the inside. And that's something that we speak about a lot in the Women's Healing Circle. It's not just about what's on the outside, but what's happening on the inside. Because when the transformation happens in your heart, it automatically is shown on the outside. And so with this place of how do I care for my soul, it's constantly being in my word and reminding myself of God's promises. What did God say? Because we don't only hear from the enemy, sometimes it's our own thoughts that get in the way. And so I gotta keep reminding myself of what did God say about me and who I am? What was his promise to me? Because in those moments where it feels like, God, I think I heard you, but it don't look that way, right? My situation doesn't look that way. His word never returns void. So I have to keep feeding my soul his word. Community, whether it's church community, right? Like my church community is big, but then I also have my community outside that feeds me, right? Because when I slip, because we all mess up here and there, right? But when I slip, or when I'm just having a hard time, that getting my hair done, my nails done, and all of that, that's not going to help me be able to heal. And when we talk about healing, when you get to a place of really caring for your soul, that's how you keep your cup full. That's how you keep pouring from a place of overflow, because God is the one who's pouring in, not the world. And so it's a constant overflow. And so prayer, reading my Bible, traveling helps feed my soul, because traveling allows me to experience and encounter other people, God's people, to be able to be a living example of God's love on this earth. In that exchange, you ever been on vacation and you don't know why you connecting with this one person that might be sitting next to you, but like you just have such a deep conversation, you may never see them again. But those are tiny markers that God puts on the earth, right? For you and for them. And so those are some ways that I constantly feed myself or feed my soul when we're talking about soul care, right? Caring for the inside of me.
So how did you what were the obstacles that you faced leaving your 9-to-5 job to say I want to find myself, I want to build myself, look after myself, and then this platform births gives birth to this amazing community that you're serving. But how difficult was it to leave that, stable, what you knew to this unknown thing, but then you knew that this unknown thing was driving purpose? So what obstacles did you have to, navigate to really get to this side where you're like, I'm leaving my purpose, but I'm looking after myself as well, and I'm feeding my soul as I'm going on this journey?
Yeah, it was not easy to walk away from a six-figure career that I had been in for 16 years. I am a single mom, so there isn't me and somebody else to care for my children. It's me. And the challenges that I faced was really around like, okay, what if this fails, right? Like all of these what if scenarios that was in my head, because I don't want to let my children down. I don't want to let other people down, right? And so it was mostly mental challenges that I experienced, of the self-doubt, not being sure, is it the right time? Can I wait? And the way that I want to say I've overcome them, I'm still facing challenges today, right? But one thing for sure is that throughout it all, I never lost my peace. When God told me that it was time for me to pursue Women's Healing Circle 100%, I was nervous. I was nervous. I wasn't sure. I had never seen anybody in my family run a business before, right? So like all of this was new, but he kept bringing me to a place of showing me that he got me, that he has me, to build up my faith, to remind me of whose I am. And so in navigating that, it was a space of trusting God, having full trust and confidence in him. And what led me there was peace. So I always tell people when they're making a decision, they feel like that's what God called them to do. Because listen, sometimes we make decisions based off of our emotions, not what God tells us to do. And then we're like, God, it didn't work out. He's like, daughter, I didn't say that, But when God tells you to do it, there's peace with it. Even if it's uncertain, if you're unsure, there's peace. My peace has never left me since. I faced challenges. I've had some struggles, but I've never lost my peace. And that has helped me to continue to be able to walk in full confidence, knowing that this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what God wants me to be doing at this very time. And so if I can offer anything, it would be chase peace, seek peace. Where is your peace? Because that's where God is.
That's amazing. It's amazing because when you are trying to make a decision of what is familiar to you to what you don't know, the automatic thing that you're going to do is feel afraid, and finding that peace to know that I'm trying to get here. I don't know how, but I know that as I go along, I'm going to be learning. I am going to be experiencing. So there is no room for like regret or failure, because there is only room for learning and processing and just getting better. So finding that peace to say, I am ready to do this. This is why we talked about the permission, because once you give yourself permission, remember, you have already started the journey. So the bumps and the obstacles that you face in between, you still have that peace that, girl, I know that I said I'm going to do it. I know that, God, whatever you believe in, whether it's God or whatever you holding too tight, and you knowing that you have that peace that I am going on this journey for myself. And when you find that peace, it allows you to show up even when no one is showing up. It allows you to keep going even when you're talking to the wall, because whatever it is that you're doing in that time is preparing you for that next level that you were trying to achieve. And what I want to say is that, how do you build your personal your own personal development, your own, apart from like self-care, not looking after, not your nails and all of those things, as you navigate like change, how do you build personal development so that you have the tenacity to show up? Like I say, when no one shows up, like if you have this idea and you're wanting to start this business, like I'm sure when you started the Healing Women Circle, there was a time when you had the first couple of meetings and no one turned up, and you're like, "Is like, should I run back to my 9 to 5 because
Yep.
they're not here, God? Like, where are they coming?"
Yeah. It's a real thing that I don't think we talk about, or at least I don't hear it enough, right? And sharing that part of it. I thought that when I left my 9 to 5, because it was what God told me to do, that I was going to walk right into the greatest blessing of my life. All of the people were going to be there, all right. But instead I walked into what felt like smacked into a storm. Because some of the things that you talk about of going on live and nobody's there, or you put together something and it's crickets, right? Like, that's the reality of this. But I had to learn that there is a place where God is preparing us, right? In the midst of what feels like storms, he's preparing us, but he's also testing our heart. He's testing our heart to see, okay, so you took 2 feet off the boat. You're on the water with me now, right? But are you going to cling to the boat when things don't turn out the way you thought it was going to turn out? Or are you going to cling to me? And so the thing that I had to learn in those moments was this place of, who am I doing this for? Am I doing it for me? Am I doing it for God? Because in those moments where I thought nobody was going to watch, and I get comments on the back end of it of how it blessed them, it brings me to this place of, if I didn't show up how God told me to show up because I got on live and nobody was there and so I closed it out, the story that he placed in me might be the one gift that the person on the receiving end needs to keep holding on. Did I just deprive them of that opportunity? Did I just get in God's way because I only saw me and how I felt because of the number? Or am I going to show up because if it's just me, guess what? There's still 2. It's me and God. And so me and God going to rock out. Okay? But that's a really hard thing. And I don't want to say it as if, yeah, you just show up and you feel good. Because that's God helping us see our heart posture, seeing where we really are. Are you really focused on him? Because at the end of the day, all of this is his plan. It's not ours. It's his plan. And so at the end of the day, do you really have a heart for me, or do you have a heart for this world? Are you listening to what I'm telling you to do? Or are you listening for the applause? And so it's a real humbling experience to get to that place to say, if God called me to show up and he told me to show up in this way, he gonna do the rest. It may not be today. It may not be tomorrow. It might be in 6 years. You don't know. Somebody come back and watch this video in 6 years. But you showing up is planting the seed that he needed to be planted in this earth by you. That's why he gave you the seed. By you. So that way, by the time it grows, whoever needed that seed, it'd be ready for them.
That is so amazing. Thank you for saying that, because it just reminds me of what I constantly say to myself, that, and I say to as many women as I come across, that if you sit down on your dreams, your story, you are stealing someone's transformation. If you let that sit with you, every time you show up and you don't show up in your best version, or you show up and you think, oh my God, there's nobody here, it's just me. Think about the 1 billion person, or that one person who is waiting for your story to get their transformation. you stole that transformation from them because you didn't show up. Or you showed up, but you didn't show up as your best self. And that is what we should all drive, especially when you're running a small business, because fatigue comes in. You were thinking, am I supposed to be doing this? Is it just me here? This is the importance of having the community as well. Because when you have all of those thoughts, someone reminds you that, girl, your story, you know, inspired me. Your story your story is going to change. And then you're constantly just sitting, you're thinking, I'm going to sit here and talk to myself, like you say, just me and God. But the replay, you don't know who is going to sit and see this or hear that story or hear that transformation or hear that service or think, oh my God, I've never heard it that way. That's why we say that we're all unique, and that's what the uniqueness that you bring to the table when you show up as your own authentic self. So that leads me to one of our last questions: that how do you do it? How do you keep going in the midst of this, storm when life is lifing? How does that woman keeps going, keeps showing up? Like, how do they wake up in the morning and be like, ain't nobody here, ain't sexy now, it's not, bringing in the coins now, but I'm gonna keep showing? How do you do that in terms of like building your self-confidence, looking after yourself and looking after your soul, so that all three of them come together and be like, yes, we're here, nobody's here, but we are building?
Is that a trick question? No. It's something I ask myself every day. I honestly am just like, girl, how are you still going? How are you still doing this? Right. And in asking myself that, I realized, because I'm not operating in my own strength. Because if I was, I wouldn't be able to show up. Like, honestly, between my children and like the things that are happening with them, sports and, things like that, what I need for myself, what my family needs for me, let alone everybody who is attached to me through Women's Healing Circle, that's a lot of weight to carry. And there are some days where, as a matter of fact, I just went live in my community on Monday with tears of just like, I'm tired. Like, I'm tired. But it's from this place of recognizing when I have reached my capacity and knowing and remembering that I'm not operating in my own strength. Because when I get to that place of like, I'm overwhelmed, I'm frustrated, this isn't feeling good anymore. And it's not just this place because it's new, right? But because like I really feel this weight, I look at that as a reminder from God to pause. Because now I'm at my fullest capacity. And this is where he needs to step in. And it's funny you ask, because like I said, I just shared that. Because it's something I constantly go through, where he had to show me to not try to outwork today, being too focused on tomorrow. I want tomorrow's blessing, right? Like, I want the vision that he showed me that this is going to be. I want it. And he wants us to want it, but he's given us our portion for today. So when I'm at that place where I'm like, this isn't making sense, I got all these things to do, I have to sit and I have to remember, one, whose strength am I operating in, right? Because it's not just me. He carries me. And then the other part is, am I overworking today? Because I'm too focused on what I want for tomorrow.
Oh my God. That is deep. That is so deep. I'm just trying to think. This is so true. And lastly, before we round up, I want you to talk to that woman who is feeling overwhelmed, who is navigating change, but she's feeling overwhelmed. She's feeling alone. I want you to, if you could say 3 sentences to that woman, what would you tell her?
3 sentences to that woman. I would tell her, God sees you, God hears you, and God loves you. Would be the 3 things that I would say to her to remind her that she's not alone, because God never leaves us. He never forsakes us. So you're not alone. He has a perfect plan, and it's already figured out. It's already figured out. So trust him. Trust that he sees you. He always has his eye on you. And he loves you. And because he loves you, everything you're worried about, he's going to work it out. So that's what I would share with that woman.
That is so amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your journey. Thank you for, I know that someone will watch this and think, I can do this. I'm not alone. If she can do it, then I can do it. Then I can start giving myself permission. I know that we've talked about loads of stuff. Getting rid of the weight, giving yourself permission, building, looking after your soul so that you show up in the best version, that even showing up is still a process, is the journey to getting to where you want to go, and knowing that he who gave you the vision, he who gave you the voice, he would bring everything that you need in alignment to where your purpose is. And where you are, he's going to meet you there. And that is, there's no other thing that you can be rest assured in. If you know that if I am not alone, if I can find a community of people who can build me up, who I can say, I'm not okay today. If I can give myself permission to be like, you're in this for you, then I can start looking after my soul and myself, so I can lift up some of those weight that I've been carrying, that I have to be everything to everybody. But the moment I drop some of those weight, then I start to work in purpose. I start to navigate the journey even afraid, doing it afraid, like not letting the day detect the drive, but letting the purpose and he who gave us the vision detect the drive. So where can people find you?
Yes, you can come right on over to Instagram or Facebook. We're there as well at the Women's Healing Circle. Feel free to DM. We are really a community and a sisterhood. So if you send a message, we are responsive. If you reach out and say, I need prayer right now, we will pray for you. And so just come on over, send us a DM, but that's where we're at. Yeah, I look forward to it, to just being able to just build the community, build the sisterhood with everybody.
Thank you so much. And ladies, if you're looking for a place, safe home, you must check out the Healing Women's Circle. Is there anything that you want the people to know that you are that is going on at the Healing Women's Circle that we can tap into right now?
Yes. I would say we have a community app. So it's I could probably put it in here and pin it, but it's bit.ly. So bit.ly/WHC mobile.
Hold on, I'm gonna type this as you're doing BIT.
Yep, bit.ly.
Yeah.
/
Yeah.
all caps, WHC mobile.
WHC mobile.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you go to that, you will get immediate access to our free private community where I go live in the community. I share devotionals. There's prayers. There's so much that's happening there beyond what you will see on Instagram. We have a course opening up that teaches you all around spiritual disciplines. So that's coming soon. So if you're like, I'm not sure if I know how to hear from God, or I'm not sure if I know how to pray, that course will be opening up soon. And so all of the information can be found on Instagram. But if you really want to get started with a community, go ahead and head over to the mobile app. And we look forward to throwing your welcome party when you get there.
That's amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Valerie. I've learned so much today, and I know that the people have learned so much. And the replay game, you guys, you know, when you watch this, you're gonna take a thing or two from this, and we continue to promote the aim of knowing that you are not alone. Wherever you're starting your journey for, it's unique to you. You have to look after yourself. You have to give yourself permission. You are never alone in this journey. Find a safe space and a safe community for people to hold your hand, hold you accountable, and just lean on each other as we navigate this life journey. And I'm so excited to really tap into the women. I'm coming there myself
Yes.
because I know that there is safety in just being in a community of people who just genuinely support, love you, and want you to thrive no matter where you are at in your journey. So thank you so much for hanging out with me this afternoon. My evening, your afternoon. And you have such an amazing story, and I wish you every success, and come back and talk to us when
Yes,
your
I
course is
love
done.
you.
Wow, thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh my God, that was such an amazing session. Thank you guys for hanging out with me and Valerie. Like I always do before we close out, let's just feed on some of the nuggets that I wrote in my notes. With following Valerie's journey for her transition. Number one is give yourself permission. Because the moment that you start feeling like you're feeling alone and feeling like you're overwhelmed, it's because you haven't let yourself start that journey with complete intentionality to keep going no matter what bumps and obstacles that you face on the way. Do it for you. Find a community. Make sure that you're with like-minded people who will lift you up, hold you accountable, but still cry, cheer, and just be with you when you're navigating this journey. Take off the shackles. Take off the shackles of who people think you are, who you are to this person, who you are to that person, who you are to the children, who you are to the partner, who you are to the world, and focus on just renewing your own strength. Start the healing for yourself, because this journey of transition, this journey of change, whether you're transitioning from 9 to 5 to running your own business to going through life, the most important thing is who you're doing it for, because you can't serve from an empty cup. You can only serve from a cup that is full, and you have to fill your cup by nurturing yourself, looking after yourself first. And that is the most important thing that I took out from today. Look after yourself. Give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. Give yourself permission. Until next week, where we have another amazing woman. We hear another amazing woman's untold story. Hold on to that purpose that you have on the inside of you. Don't let your vision die because you've had a bad day. Don't let your day detect your drive. Look inside, give yourself permission, and keep going. Keep showing up. Don't sit on your vision because you're stealing someone's transformation, because your story is unique to you. And what an amazing experience it will be for someone to hear your story and be transformed. So stay unique, stay strong, and be courageous. Until we come back next time to hear an amazing untold story, thank you for hanging out with me. And if you're watching the replay, let me know. Replay gang. Thank you. I love you guys for hanging out with me. Thank you guys. God bless you. See you next week.